Hey, welcome to Friday. Before we go anywhere, let's just take a breath together. If your week was full, if you're carrying something, if Tuesday's episode stirred something, this is that moment. Today is about helping you see the story underneath your overgiving and gently question it. You don't need to have it figured out. You don't need to know what you think about it. You just need to be here. Tuesday, we talked about the worth wound, the sentence that runs underneath everything, the one that sounds responsible, that sounds like love, that sounds like the thing a good woman would say. And the moment you realize it is not the truth, it's just a story you've been living inside so long you stop being able to see it. Something might have landed for you this week, a recognition, a small uncomfortable one. Maybe you caught yourself saying it, the sentence, and for a split second, you heard it differently, not as the truth, as a choice. If that happened, I want you to know that moment of seeing is not nothing. It is the whole thing. That is exactly where change starts. And if nothing landed yet, if you listened on Tuesday and it felt interesting, but not personal, that's fine too. Sometimes a story is too close to see. We need perspective and space. Sometimes we need a little more time. That's what today is for. So I want to give you 3 questions to sit with this weekend. Not all at once, one at a time. Let each one find what it's looking for. Here's the first question I want to leave with you. What did you learn? What did you learn growing up about what women are supposed to want? Not what you were told, what you absorbed, what you watched, what got praised and what got quiet. What did the women around you teach you without ever saying a word about what a good woman is allowed to need? Maybe you're seeing a kitchen table, a car ride, a moment when someone said yes to everyone but herself, and you were watching. Maybe it was your mother. Maybe it was a grandmother. Maybe it was just the general air of the house you grew up in, the unspoken agreement about who carried things and who got to ask for what. We absorb these things before we have language for them. And when we carry it into our lives and call them values, when sometimes they're just conclusions a 9-year-old drew, because that was the only way she knew how to make sense of what she was seeing. It was her frame of reference. You're not 9 anymore. That does not mean the conclusion is wrong. It just means it is worth looking at. Raquela was 8 when she built hers. She didn't decide it. She watched it. A mother who held everything together quietly without complaint. This is what a good woman is. You probably weren't 8. Maybe you were older. Maybe you're still not sure when it happened, but that belief didn't arrive as a belief. It arrived as evidence, as what you saw repeated until it became air, which is why the second question matters. The second question sits right next to the first one. When did you first start believing that your wanting was less important than someone else's needing? You don't have to find the exact moment. There probably wasn't one, but there was likely a season, a version of you who learned quietly and without announcement that her needs went last. When was that? You don't need to be angry about it. It probably wasn't anyone's fault. I ask because most of the women I work with have never actually asked themselves this question. They have just lived inside the answer. And when you know where a story came from, when you can trace the line back to the girl who first decided, something loosens. It stops feeling like the truth and starts feeling like what it actually is, a choice someone else made a long time ago that you can now make differently. Here's what that choice quietly cost you. Not in the dramatic way, not in a way you can point to, in the way you learned to dress your wanting in practical language. And it's not the right time, and when things settle down and once everyone else is okay. In the way you've been waiting for a permission that was never going to come from the outside. I closed a laptop for a year because of that sentence. I was afraid of people actually seeing what I was writing. Raquela almost didn't start a business for 20 years because of it, and neither of us knew we were doing it. That is the worth wound. That is exactly it. This is the one that breaks it open. What would become possible if that story weren't true? Not what would you do? Not what would you change? Just what would become possible? What opens up when you let yourself imagine for even just a moment that you were always allowed to want what you want? I want to stay here with you for a second because this question can feel like too much. It can feel like it leads somewhere you're not ready to go. Like answering it honestly would require you to change things or want things or admit things that would complicate your life. And I want to tell you something about that feeling. That resistance is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you're standing right at the edge of the story. You don't have to jump. You don't have to do anything. Just stand there and look. Just let yourself see what is on the other side of the sentence you have been saying. I'm standing here with you. You're not doing this alone. And here's what I've seen happen when women don't stop to look at this. The story doesn't stay quiet. It gets louder. The gap between who she is on the outside and what she needs on the inside just gets wider, not because life got worse, because she got better at ignoring it. And one day she realizes she's built a bigger, more impressive, more demanding life, and it fits even less than the one she had before. These questions are not homework, not something you need to figure out. They're just invitations to notice. Let what you already heard settle a little deeper. You have been carrying this story for a long time. It is not going to dissolve in a Friday afternoon, but you saw it this week, or part of it, or you felt the edge of it. That is enough. If you're realizing this pattern is running more of your life than you thought, if something this week made you want to say the sentence out loud, someone who will ask you the right question, that's exactly what a clarity call is for. It's one conversation with me. No pressure, just the right question. The link is in the show notes. And if you're not ready for that yet, just sit with the questions. Come back to them, let them work on you. The seeing is the beginning. I'll see you Tuesday. This is The Joy Shift with Kiley Suarez.